The summer air was hot and thick in the mountains behind Jinwoo's grandmother's village. 8-year-old Jinwoo climbed the rocky path with a small backpack full of rice balls and water. His grandmother had told him stories about dragons in these mountains, but everyone said they were just old tales. Jinwoo didn't care. He loved exploring. The boy stopped when he heard a low, pained sound coming from behind a large boulder. It sounded like an animal in trouble. Jinwoo was small, but he was brave. He walked around the rock and gasped at what he saw. A dragon lay on the ground, breathing hard. Her scales were deep blue like the night sky, but some were cracked and bleeding. One of her wings was twisted at a wrong angle. Her eyes were closed, and she seemed very weak. Jinwoo had never seen anything so beautiful and sad at the same time. Most people would have run away. Dragons were dangerous, everyone knew that. But Jinwoo saw only a hurt creature that needed help. He walked closer, making soft sounds like his grandmother did when she fed the village cats. The dragon's eyes opened. They were golden like the sunset and very old. She looked at the small boy who stood before her without fear. For a moment, neither moved. "You're hurt," Jinwoo said in his simple way. "I can help you." The dragon tried to lift her head but couldn't. She spoke and her voice was like wind through trees. "Little human, you should run. I am dangerous." "You don't look dangerous right now," Jinwoo said. He pulled his water bottle from his backpack. "You look thirsty." Nara was surprised. In all her long years, no human had ever shown her such simple kindness. Most feared her or wanted to use her power. This small boy just wanted to help. Jinwoo poured water into his cupped hands and held them near the dragon's mouth. Nara drank carefully, making sure not to hurt the child with her sharp teeth. The water helped, and she felt a little stronger. "What's your name?" Jinwoo asked as he sat down next to her massive head. "I am Nara," she said. "I am the last dragon in these mountains. The last dragon anywhere, I think. I'm Jinwoo." "Why are you the last one?" Nara's eyes grew sad. "My people used to fly among the stars. We could travel from world to world, free as light itself. But something went wrong long ago. We became trapped on this one planet. The others grew tired and chose to sleep forever. Only I remained awake." Jinwoo listened with wide eyes. He had always loved stories about space and stars. At night he would lie on his back and look up at the sky, wondering what was out there. "You came from the stars?" he asked. "Yes, little one, but now I can never return. Dragons need the void between worlds to truly live. Here we slowly fade away." Jinwoo thought about this while he opened one of his rice balls. He offered half to Nara, who ate it gently from his small hands. They sat together in comfortable silence for a while. "I want to go to the stars too," Jinwoo finally said. "My teacher says humans will go there someday. We have rockets now, but they're not very good yet." Nara looked at this strange little human with new interest. "You want to travel to the stars?" "Yes. I want to see everything out there. Other worlds, other people, everything." Jinwoo's eyes shone with excitement. "When I grow up, I'm going to build the best spaceship ever. I'll go everywhere." The dragon felt something she hadn't felt in centuries. Hope. This child spoke with such confidence, such pure belief. Maybe humans really would reach the stars someday. "If you could really travel among the stars," Nara said slowly, "what would you do?" Jinwoo didn't need to think. "I'd take you with me. You said dragons belong there, right? So I'd bring you home to where you're supposed to be." Nara's heart, cold for so many years, warmed at these words. "And why would you do that for me?" "Because you're lonely," Jinwoo said simply. "And because you're beautiful. And because it's the right thing to do." The boy stood up and looked at the massive dragon with total seriousness. "When I grow up, I'll take you to see the stars. You'll be my bride, and we'll fly together among the galaxies." Nara couldn't help but smile at his innocent boldness. A human child no bigger than one of her claws was proposing marriage and promising her the stars. It should have been funny, but somehow it wasn't. There was something pure and powerful in his young heart. "That's a very big promise, little Jinwoo," she said. "Do you know what it means to give your word to a dragon?" "It means I have to keep it," Jinwoo said without hesitation. "My grandmother says a person is only as good as their promises." Nara studied the boy's face. She saw no doubt there, no fear, only honest intention. After a long moment, she made a decision that would change both their lives. "Very well, brave little one. I accept your proposal." She reached up with one claw and gently plucked a single scale from her neck. It glowed with soft blue light. "Take this as a sign of our pact. If you can truly reach the stars and return for me, I will be your bride." Jinwoo took the dragon scale with both hands. It was warm and seemed to pulse like a heartbeat. He tucked it carefully into his shirt pocket right over his heart. "I'll come back for you," he promised. "I don't know how long it will take, but I'll come back." Nara felt her strength returning as the day cooled. She would heal from her injuries, but more importantly, she had something to live for again. "I will wait," she said. "I have waited centuries already. I can wait a little longer." As the sun began to set, Nara slowly stood. Her wing was still sore, but she could move again. She looked down at the small boy who had given her hope. "Remember, Jinwoo, the stars are very far away. Many will tell you it's impossible. Then I'll prove them wrong," Jinwoo said with the confidence that only children possess. Nara spread her wings and launched herself into the sky. As she flew away, she called back to him. "I'll be watching, little star traveler. Don't forget your promise." Jinwoo stood on the mountain holding the dragon scale and looking up at the stars beginning to appear in the darkening sky. He had made a promise to a real dragon. Now he had to figure out how to keep it. From that night forward, everything changed for the young boy. He had a mission now, a purpose bigger than anything he had ever imagined. He would reach the stars and he would bring his dragon bride home. 10 years had passed since Jinwoo met the dragon in the mountains. Now 18, he studied at Seoul National University, focusing on aerospace engineering with a determination that amazed his professors. While other students went to parties or played games, Jinwoo spent his nights reading about rockets, propulsion systems, and the physics of space travel. His best friend Somin often found him in the library at midnight, surrounded by books and technical papers. She had known him since childhood and was one of the few people who knew about his dragon encounter. Unlike others who thought it was just a childhood fantasy, Somin believed him. She had seen the dragon scale he always carried. "You're going to burn out if you keep studying this hard," Somin said one evening, sitting down across from him in the empty library. Jinwoo looked up from his calculations about fuel efficiency. His eyes were tired but determined. "I can't slow down. Every day I wait is another day she's alone up there." "The dragon," Somin said softly. She had heard this story many times, but it never got old. "Do you really think she's still waiting?" Jinwoo touched his shirt pocket where he always kept the blue scale. Even after 10 years, it still glowed faintly in the dark. "I know she is. A dragon's promise is forever." Somin studied her friend's face. Over the years, she had watched him change from a dreamy child into a focused young man with a clear mission. His professors called him brilliant. His grades were perfect. But she worried about him sometimes. He never seemed to have fun anymore. "What if you succeed?" she asked. "What if you really build a ship that can reach the stars?" "Then what?" "Then I keep my promise," Jinwoo said simply. "I go find her and bring her home." "And marry a dragon?" Salman couldn't help but smile. Jinwoo's cheeks turned red, but his voice stayed serious. "If she'll still have me. I was just a kid when I made that promise. She might think differently now." What Jinwoo didn't know was that Nara had been watching him all these years. Sometimes she took human form, calling herself Hyejin. In this disguise, she could walk among people without causing fear. She had watched him grow from a determined child into a brilliant young man. Hyejin often sat in the back of his engineering lectures, listening as Jinwoo asked questions that impressed even his professors. She saw how hard he worked, how focused he remained on his impossible goal. Part of her felt guilty for letting him spend his life chasing a promise to a lonely dragon. But another part of her felt something she hadn't experienced in centuries: hope. Humans were advancing faster than she had expected. Their rockets were getting better. Their understanding of space was growing. Maybe, just maybe, this young man might actually achieve the impossible. By his 3rd year of university, Jinwoo had caught the attention of Professor Daeho Park, one of Korea's leading experts in space technology. Daeho was working on advanced propulsion systems for the National Space Program. He had heard about the brilliant student who spent all his time dreaming about interstellar travel. "Most students your age want to build better satellites or moon bases," Daeho said during their first meeting. "You want to reach other star systems." Why? Jinwoo hesitated. He couldn't tell his professor about the dragon. People would think he was crazy. "I believe humans are meant to explore," he said finally. "We shouldn't limit ourselves to just our solar system." Daeho studied the young man's face. There was something deeper here, some personal motivation driving this incredible focus. But whatever it was producing remarkable results. Your theoretical work on faster-than-light propulsion is impressive, Daeho said. Most scientists think it's impossible. Most scientists haven't tried hard enough, Jinwoo replied. Einstein showed us that space and time can bend. If we can understand how to bend them the right way, we can make distances shorter. Daeho was impressed by the student's confidence. He decided to offer Jinwoo a position in his research lab. How would you like to work on real spacecraft instead of just theoretical ones? Jinwoo's eyes lit up. This was the chance he had been waiting for. Yes, sir. I'd like that very much. Working in Daeho's lab, Jinwoo threw himself into practical engineering problems. He learned how to build actual rocket engines, how to design life support systems, and how to solve the thousands of small problems that came with space travel. But he never lost sight of his bigger goal. Late at night, when the lab was empty, he worked on his own designs. Theoretical engines that could bend space-time, navigation systems for interstellar distances, life support for journeys that might take decades. His notebooks filled with equations and sketches that pushed the boundaries of known science. Somin had also chosen engineering as her field, specializing in computer systems for spacecraft. She often worked alongside Jinwoo, and she could see how his passion inspired everyone around him. Other students started calling him Star Chaser Jinwoo, but they said it with respect, not mockery. You know, Somin said one night as they tested a new engine design, even if you never find your dragon, you're going to change the world. These ideas you're working on could take humanity to the stars. That's the point, Jinwoo said, adjusting the fuel mixture. If I can't reach her myself, maybe I can at least give humans the tools to explore out there. Someone else might find her people. The engine test that night was a small success. The new fuel design produced more thrust with less mass. It was a tiny step forward, but every small victory brought Jinwoo closer to his impossible goal. Unknown to him, Hye-jin was watching from outside the lab window. She saw the bright flash of the successful test and felt her heart surge with pride and hope. The little boy who had promised to take her to the stars was becoming the man who might actually do it. As Jinwoo's final year of university approached, he faced a choice. He could take a comfortable job with an established space company, working on conventional projects. Or he could pursue his dream of interstellar travel, knowing that most people thought it was impossible. Professor Daeho called him into his office one spring day. I have offers for you from 3 different companies, he said. Good positions with good pay. You could have a successful career. But Jinwoo sensed there was more. But I also have another option. The government is starting a new program for advanced space research. High risk, uncertain results. The goal is to develop technologies that don't exist yet. It would mean years of work with no guarantee of success. Jinwoo didn't need to think about it. The advanced program. That's what I want. Daeho smiled. He had expected this answer. The program director wants to meet you first. She's very interested in your theoretical work. The meeting was set for the following week. As Jinwoo prepared his presentation about faster-than-light travel, he felt the dragon scale pulse gently against his chest. 10 years had passed since his promise. He was no longer a child with a dream, but a trained engineer with the skills to make dreams real. The night before the meeting, Somin found him on the university roof, looking up at the stars. Nervous? She asked. Excited, Jinwoo said. This could be the start of everything. The real beginning of keeping my promise. Somin looked up at the same stars her friend had been chasing for 10 years. Do you think she knows? The dragon? Do you think she knows how hard you're working for her? Jinwoo touched the scale in his pocket. I hope so. I hope she knows I haven't forgotten. Far away in her mountain cave, Nara felt the scale's pulse and smiled. She knew. She had never stopped believing in the little boy who promised her the stars. Now that boy was becoming a man who might actually deliver them. The next phase of their journey was about to begin. 5 years into the advanced space program, Jinwoo had become the lead researcher on Project Starbridge. The team worked from a secret facility near Naro Space Center, where Korea's most ambitious rockets launched. Their mission was simple in words but impossible in practice. Develop faster-than-light travel. Most of the scientific world thought they were wasting time and money. The media called it Jinwoo's Dragon Chase, though they didn't know how accurate that nickname really was. But Jinwoo and his team kept working, driven by a combination of scientific curiosity and one man's unshakable promise. Salman had joined the project as head of computer systems. She designed the navigation computers that would somehow guide a ship through folded space-time. Professor Deho, now director of the entire program, provided wisdom and support when failures mounted. And there were many failures. The first 3 years produced nothing but broken equipment and frustrated scientists. Theoretical models that looked perfect on paper exploded when built in reality. Test engines melted, warped space-time calculations crashed the most powerful computers, and prototype ships disappeared entirely during unmanned tests. Maybe we're pushing too hard, Salman suggested after their latest failure. The test ship had vanished completely, not even leaving debris behind. Maybe faster-than-light travel really is impossible. Jinwoo stared at the empty test chamber where their prototype had been moments before. They had spent 18 months building that ship. Now it was gone, along with millions of dollars in equipment. But instead of feeling defeated, he felt closer to success. It didn't explode this time, he said thoughtfully. It went somewhere. That's progress. Progress? Deho shook his head. We just lost another ship. The oversight committee is already asking questions about our budget. But don't you see? Jinwoo's excitement grew as he thought through what had happened. Every other test, the ships broke apart or burned up. This one didn't break. It traveled. We just don't know where it went. Salman looked at her friend with the same mixture of admiration and worry she'd felt since university. His optimism in the face of failure was either brilliant or crazy. Maybe both. So how do we find out where it went? She asked. We build a better tracking system, Jinwoo said, and we send up a ship that can come back. The next 6 months were spent developing new navigation technology. Salman's computers would track ships through folded space-time using quantum entanglement. If a ship disappeared, they could still communicate with it and guide it home. In theory. During this time, Nara watched more closely than ever. She had revealed herself to Salman and Deho, appearing as Hye-jin but showing her true dragon form. The revelation had shocked them both, but it also made them understand why Jinwoo was so driven. Your friend has done something remarkable, Nara told them during one of their secret meetings. In all my centuries, I have never seen a human work so hard to keep a promise. Most people forget their childhood dreams. Jinwoo doesn't forget anything, Salman said. Sometimes I think that's his greatest strength and his biggest weakness. Nara's golden eyes grew thoughtful. Dragons are creatures of the void between stars. We were never meant to be trapped on one world. If Jinwoo succeeds, he won't just be fulfilling a promise to me. He'll be freeing my entire people from their prison. Your people? Deho asked. I thought you were the last dragon. The last awake, Nara corrected. The others chose to sleep until the stars called them home again. If faster-than-light travel becomes real, I can wake them. We can return to our true realm. This added weight to their mission. They weren't just trying to reach the stars anymore. They were trying to save an entire species of cosmic beings who had been trapped on Earth for millennia. The breakthrough came on a cold morning in late autumn. Jinwoo had been working for 36 hours straight, refining the equations for space-time manipulation. His latest calculations suggested a new approach. Instead of trying to push through space-time, they could create a bubble of normal space around the ship and compress the space-time outside the bubble. It's like surfing, he explained to his exhausted team. Instead of swimming against the current, we ride the wave. The math looked promising. The computer simulations ran successfully, but they had been disappointed before. As they prepared for another test, everyone felt the familiar mixture of hope and dread. This time they used a larger ship with better instruments. Salman's quantum tracking system was fully online. They could monitor the ship's location even if it left normal space-time entirely. All systems ready, Salman reported from the control room. Navigation computers online, added the flight engineer. Jinwoo stood at the main control panel, his hand hovering over the activation switch. He thought about the 8-year-old boy who had promised a dragon he would take her to the stars. That boy had no idea how hard his promise would be to keep. Beginning space-time compression, Jinwoo announced. The ship began to glow with strange energy. Space around it seemed to bend and twist like heated glass. Then in a flash of brilliant light, the ship vanished. For a moment, the control room was silent. Then Salman's excited voice broke the tension. I'm getting signals. The quantum link is working. The ship is... Wait. Her expression changed from excitement to amazement. The ship is at Proxima Centauri. It traveled 4 light years in less than a second. The room erupted in cheers, but Jinwoo remained focused on the data streaming across the screens. Can we bring it back? Working on it, Soman said, her fingers flying over the navigation controls. Sending return coordinates now. Another flash of light filled the test chamber and the ship reappeared exactly where it had started. For a moment, no one spoke. They had just achieved faster-than-light travel. They had made science fiction into science fact. Professor Daiho was the first to break the silence. We did it. We actually did it. But Jinwoo wasn't celebrating yet. We proved the principle works, he said carefully. But that was just an unmanned probe. Taking humans safely to another star is much more complicated. Over the following months, they refined the technology. They tested life support systems under space-time compression. They developed safety protocols for human passengers. They solved 1,000 smaller problems that stood between laboratory success and practical space travel. The first manned test flight was scheduled for exactly 10 years, after Jinwoo had met Nara in the mountains. He insisted on piloting the ship himself. If something went wrong, he didn't want anyone else to take the risk. The night before the flight, Nara appeared to him in her true dragon form. They met at the same mountain cave where they had first encountered each other as boy and dragon. You have kept your promise beyond anything I dared hope, she said. Tomorrow you will make humanity an interstellar species. Tomorrow I start bringing you home, Jinwoo replied. He was no longer the small boy who had offered her water and rice balls. He was a man who had bent the laws of physics to keep a childhood promise. Are you afraid? Nara asked. Jinwoo considered the question. No, I've been preparing for this my whole life. Everything I've learned, everything I've built, it's all led to this moment. And if something goes wrong, then at least I tried. At least I didn't break my promise through lack of effort. Nara felt her ancient heart swell with emotion. This human had done more than reach the stars. He had proven that some beings in the universe still understood honor, commitment, and the power of keeping one's word. When you return, she said softly, I will be waiting. The next morning, Jinwoo climbed into the pilot seat of humanity's first interstellar spacecraft. Soman monitored from mission control, while Daiho coordinated with the entire space program leadership. The whole world was watching. Ready for departure, Jinwoo reported. All systems green, Soman confirmed. Safe travels, Star Chaser. Jinwoo smiled at the old nickname. He activated the space-time compression drive, and in a flash of light that could be seen from orbit, he vanished from Earth's solar system. 3 hours later, he returned from Proxima Centauri with detailed photographs of an alien world. Humanity had taken its first step toward becoming a true spacefaring civilization. But for Jinwoo, the most important part of the mission was still ahead. He had proven he could reach the stars. Now he had to figure out how to bring a dragon home. The news of humanity's first successful interstellar flight spread across the globe in hours. Jinwoo became the most famous person on Earth overnight. Leaders from every nation wanted to meet him. Scientists begged to study his technology, but Jinwoo had only one thing on his mind, keeping the second part of his promise to Nara. He had reached the stars. Now he needed to bring her something worthy of a dragon who had waited 20 years for him to return. The world wants to know what you plan to do next, Daiho said during their debriefing meeting. Every space agency is asking for cooperation. The UN wants to create an international interstellar program with you as the director. Jinwoo sat in his office at the Space Center, looking at the dragon scale he had carried for 2 decades. It glowed brighter now, as if it knew their reunion was close. I need to make one more trip first, he said. A personal mission. Soman looked up from the mission reports she was reviewing. Where to this time? Deeper, Jinwoo said simply. The Proxima Centauri system was just a test. I need to find something that doesn't exist in our solar system. What kind of something? Daiho asked. Jinwoo hesitated. How could he explain that he was looking for flowers that bloomed in the void between stars? Flowers that sang with the harmony of distant suns? Even after everything they had achieved, it sounded impossible. Something beautiful enough for a dragon, he said finally. Soman and Daiho exchanged glances. They had learned not to question Jinwoo's strange requests. His instincts had led them to faster-than-light travel. If he said he needed to find cosmic flowers, they would help him find cosmic flowers. How deep? Soman asked. How far from Earth? I don't know yet, Jinwoo admitted. I'll know it when I see it. Over the next 3 months, Jinwoo made 7 more interstellar trips. Each journey took him farther from Earth, exploring star systems that no human had ever seen. He found planets covered in crystal forests, moons where liquid metal rained from purple skies, and nebulae that painted space in colors that had no names. But he didn't find what he was looking for until his 8th trip, when he traveled to a region of space so far from any star that it was bathed in eternal darkness. There, in the cold void between galaxies, Jinwoo discovered something that took his breath away. A garden ship drifted through the darkness, ancient beyond measure. It was bigger than a city, built from materials that seemed to absorb and reflect starlight at the same time. And growing on its surface, in the vacuum of space itself, were flowers unlike anything in the universe. The flowers were translucent, their petals made of crystallized starlight. They bloomed in the absolute cold of space, drawing energy from cosmic radiation and the songs of distant stars. As Jinwoo's ship approached, he could hear them through his instruments, a harmony of pure music that made his heart ache with its beauty. He had found the starflowers, legendary blooms that existed only in the deepest void. According to the ship's ancient computer, which somehow still functioned after millions of years, these flowers were sacred to the cosmic dragons. They were gifts from the universe itself, meant to bloom where no life should be possible. Jinwoo spent hours carefully harvesting a small bouquet, using his ship's robotic arms to cut the stems without damaging the delicate crystalline petals. Each flower sang a different note, and together they created a symphony that spoke of distant galaxies and the dreams of sleeping stars. When he returned to Earth, he went straight to the mountains where everything had begun. Nara was waiting for him in their cave, no longer hiding her true form. Her blue scales shimmered in the starlight that filtered through the cave opening. "You came back," she said, though her voice carried no surprise. She had always known he would. "I promised I would," Jinwoo replied. He was 30 years old now, no longer the small boy who had offered her water and rice balls, but his eyes still held the same determination and kindness that had touched her heart 2 decades ago. "And what did you bring me from the stars?" Nara asked, though she could already sense the cosmic energy radiating from his ship outside. Jinwoo smiled and produced the bouquet of starflowers. As soon as they entered the cave, they began to glow more brightly, their crystalline petals chiming with celestial music. The flowers recognized Nara's presence, singing the ancient songs of her people. Nara gasped. She had not seen starflowers for over 1,000 years. They were the rarest treasures in the universe, blooms that appeared only in the deepest void and sang only for those who truly belonged among the stars. "You brought me the stars themselves," she whispered, her golden eyes bright with unshed tears. "I promised to take you to the stars," Jinwoo said, kneeling before the massive dragon. "But I found something better. I brought the stars to you." Nara bent her great head down to smell the flowers. Their song grew louder, harmonizing with the ancient magic that flowed through her dragon heart. The flowers were more than just beautiful. They were a symbol of everything her people had lost when they became trapped on Earth. "Do you know what these are?" she asked softly. The ship's computer called them starflowers. It said they were sacred to cosmic dragons. "They are the flowers that bloom in our true home," Nara explained. "In the void between worlds where space and time dance together. My people used to tend gardens of these flowers across the galaxy. We haven't seen them since we were imprisoned on this single world." Jinwoo reached into his pocket and pulled out the dragon scale she had given him 20 years ago. It pulsed with the same rhythm as the starflowers, as if they recognized each other. "I've kept this close to my heart every day since you gave it to me," he said. "Now I want to ask you the same question you asked me when I was 8 years old. Will you marry me?" Nara looked at this remarkable human who had spent half his life keeping an impossible promise. He had not only reached the stars, but had brought back the most precious gifts of her people. He had proven that humans were capable of wonders beyond imagination. "You were a brave little boy when you made that promise," she said. "Now you are a man who has changed the universe. Yes, Jinwoo Kim, I will be your bride." The starflowers sang more loudly at her words, their crystal petals chiming like wedding bells across the cosmos. In that moment, Jinwoo felt something shift in the world around them. The flowers were doing more than just celebrating. They were calling to others of their kind across the galaxy. "There's something else," Nara said, her voice filled with wonder. "The flowers aren't just blooming. They're sending signals. My people, the ones who chose to sleep until the stars called them home, they're waking up." Across the earth, in hidden caves and forgotten mountains, ancient dragons began to stir. They had slept for centuries, waiting for a sign that their exile was over. The song of the starflowers was that sign. "What does this mean?" Jinwoo asked. "It means you haven't just kept your promise to me," Nara said, her voice growing stronger as she felt her people awakening. "You freed all of us. You've given the cosmic dragons a path back to the stars." Through the cave opening, they could see lights beginning to appear across the mountain range. Dragons were emerging from their long sleep, drawn by the call of the starflowers and the promise of freedom. "Will they come with us?" Jinwoo asked. "When we travel to the stars?" "Some will," Nara said. "Others will choose to stay and help guide humanity's journey outward. But all of us will be free to choose. Thanks to you." Jinwoo looked out at the awakening dragons and thought about how far he had come from the 8-year-old boy who had stumbled across an injured dragon in the mountains. He had set out to keep a simple promise and ended up changing the destiny of 2 species. "So what happens now?" he asked. Nara's smile was radiant. "Now we plan a wedding among the stars. And then we help humanity take its next steps into the galaxy." The starflowers continued to sing their cosmic song, their music carrying across Earth and out into space, announcing to the universe that the dragons were free and humanity had earned its place among the stars. 1 year after the dragons awakened, humanity launched its first permanent interstellar colony ship. The vessel was unlike anything ever built before, a fusion of human engineering and dragon wisdom, powered by technology that bent space-time and guided by beings who remembered the ancient paths between stars. Jinwoo stood on the bridge of the ship they had named Promise Keeper, watching the blue marble of Earth grow smaller in the view screen. Beside him, Nara existed in her human form as Hyejin, though her true dragon self could manifest instantly if needed. They wore matching uniforms that marked them as co-commanders of humanity's most ambitious mission. "Any regrets about leaving Earth?" Soman asked from her position at the navigation console. She had accepted the role of admiral for the human star fleet, overseeing the expansion into the galaxy. Her trust in Jinwoo's vision had never wavered, even when that vision seemed impossible. "Earth will always be our home," Jinwoo replied, "but the universe is bigger than one world. Humans are meant to explore, to grow, to discover what's out there waiting for us." The ship carried 10,000 colonists and crew members, along with 12 dragons who had chosen to help guide humanity's expansion. Each dragon brought centuries of knowledge about interstellar travel, cosmic phenomena, and the hidden wonders scattered across the galaxy. Their destination was a star system 60 light-years from Earth, where long-range probes had detected multiple habitable worlds. The journey would take 3 days using their improved faster-than-light drive. What had once been impossible was now routine. "Entering hyperspace in 60 seconds, announced Daeho from the engineering section. Now in his 70s, he had insisted on joining this first colony mission. "All dragons report ready for navigation assistance." Nara closed her eyes and extended her consciousness beyond the ship, feeling for the cosmic currents that flowed between stars. Dragons had an instinctive understanding of hyperspace navigation that no human computer could match. With their guidance, interstellar travel became not just possible but safe. "I have the path," Nara announced, beginning transition to hyperspace. The ship shimmered and vanished from normal space-time, riding the waves of folded reality toward their distant destination. Inside the ship, life continued normally. Families played games, scientists studied their data, and children born on Earth prepared to grow up among alien stars. On the second day of the journey, Jinwoo and Nara walked through the ship's observation deck, where massive windows showed the swirling colors of hyperspace. Other couples and families had gathered there to watch the impossible beauty of folded spacetime. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if I hadn't found you that day?" Jinwoo asked. "If I had taken a different path up the mountain?" Nara considered the question. "I think the universe has a way of bringing together the people who need to meet. If not that day, then another. If not in those mountains, then somewhere else." "You really believe that?" "I believe in the power of promises kept," Nara said. "And I believe in humans who refuse to accept that things are impossible. Your species has a gift for achieving what others think cannot be done." Their conversation was interrupted by an excited shout from one of the children. Look at that!" Everyone turned to see what had caught the child's attention. Outside the windows, something was moving through hyperspace with them. At first, it looked like a school of cosmic fish, but as they came closer, the passengers realized they were seeing something far more extraordinary. Space whales. Nara breathed in wonder. I haven't seen them for centuries. The creatures were enormous, larger than the colony ship itself. They moved through hyperspace like swimmers through water, their translucent bodies glowing with internal light. Ancient beings that had evolved to live in folded space-time, traveling between star systems as naturally as birds flew between trees. Are they dangerous? Someone asked nervously. No, Nara assured them. They're curious about us. They haven't seen a ship traveling with dragons for a very long time. To them, we represent something they thought was lost forever. The space whales swam alongside the ship for several hours, their songs echoing through hyperspace in harmonies that made the starflowers in the ship's garden ring like crystal bells. It was humanity's first contact with truly cosmic life forms, beings that existed only in the spaces between realities. When the whales finally departed, swimming off toward some distant destination, they left behind a sense of wonder that spread throughout the ship. The universe was far stranger and more beautiful than anyone had imagined. On the third day, they arrived at their destination, a system with 3 suns and 7 planets, 2 of which could support human life. The planets were empty of intelligent life but rich with resources and stunning natural beauty. One world had purple oceans under orange skies. The other was covered in crystal forests that sang in the wind. Welcome to New Harmony, Jinwoo announced over the ship's communication system, using the name that had been chosen by the colonists themselves. This is where we build humanity's first interstellar civilization. The next months were busy ones. Colonists established cities on both habitable planets. Mining ships extracted resources from the asteroid belts. Agricultural teams began growing earth crops in alien soil. And always the dragons provided guidance and wisdom from their ancient knowledge of the galaxy. But for Jinwoo and Nara, the most important event was still to come. They planned their wedding for the anniversary of the day they had first met. The ceremony would take place in space itself, in the corona of the system's largest star. It was a location that no human had ever imagined as a wedding venue. But for a dragon who belonged among the cosmic fires, it was perfect. On the chosen day, their ship approached the star with special shielding that allowed them to survive in the stellar corona. Representatives from every human colony attended via quantum communication links. Dragons from across the galaxy sent their blessings through the cosmic currents. Somin, now admiral of the human starfleet, served as the officiant. She had traveled from Earth specifically for this moment, bringing with her the original dragon scale that had started everything. We gather today in the heart of a star to celebrate not just the union of 2 people, Somin began. Her voice carried across space to every human settlement, but the joining of 2 species in friendship and shared purpose. Jinwoo wore a simple blue uniform that matched Nara's scales. Nara stood beside him in her human form, though her true dragon nature was visible in her golden eyes and the way starlight seemed to bend around her. Jinwoo Kim, Somin continued, 22 years ago you made a promise to a lonely dragon. You promised to take her to the stars, to be her companion in the cosmic realm where she belonged. Do you take Nara as your wife, to explore the galaxy together and help guide humanity's journey among the stars? I do, Jinwoo said, his voice steady despite the magnitude of the moment. I promise to love her, to explore the universe with her, and to help our 2 peoples build a future among the stars. Nara, Somin addressed the dragon, do you take Jinwoo as your husband, to share with him the ancient wisdom of your people, and help humanity find its place in the cosmic community? I do, Nara replied. I promise to love him, to share with his people everything my kind has learned in our eons among the stars, and to help build bridges between all the beings who call the galaxy home. As they exchanged vows, the starflowers that had been cultivated throughout the ship began to bloom more brightly. Their crystal petals chimed with celestial music that harmonized with the nuclear fires of the star around them. The sound carried across space, announcing to any listening civilizations that something special was happening in this corner of the galaxy. When Jinwoo and Nara kissed, sealing their union, Nara briefly shifted to her true dragon form. For a moment, a human and a dragon were silhouetted against the heart of a star, their love story spanning species and decades, proving that some promises are worth keeping no matter how impossible they seem. As the ceremony concluded, Reports began coming in from across human space. Other alien species were making contact, drawn by the songs of the starflowers and curious about the civilization that traveled with cosmic dragons. The galaxy was opening its arms to humanity. "What's next for us?" Jinwoo asked as they watched the star's corona dance around their ship. "Everything," Nara replied. "We explore every corner of the galaxy. We meet every species willing to share knowledge and friendship. We help humanity become the cosmic civilization it's meant to be. And we stay together through all of it?" "Through all of it," Nara promised. "Among the stars where we both belong." Their ship turned away from the star and headed deeper into the galaxy, carrying the seeds of humanity's cosmic future. Behind them, Earth continued to send out more colony ships, each one guided by dragons and human crews working together. The promise made by an 8-year-old boy to a lonely dragon had become the foundation for humanity's greatest adventure. And in the vast reaches of space where starflowers bloomed and cosmic whales sang, their love story continued to unfold among the infinite wonders of the universe. The galaxy would never be the same.